heavy hero I see from Misho is Marcy, and I just don't think Marcy that's her best role after like 20 minutes in the game. You know, even with Blink Aetherlens, I'm not convinced by this hero's ability to initiate and start fights effectively. I think lots of people have kind of figured her out. It takes a long time to get it disposed. Just you throw a stun or disengage and pop BKB and you're good to go, basically. I don't think that the hero cuts it in terms of initiation. So I'd like to see Hokori settle that a bit more. And they have, I think, already, basically, with Beastmaster. Much more like cookie cutter start to the fight, roar someone, right? I mean, it's easy.
Is that what you're picking it for here? Do you think the roar, or are they going to pick around the push and the boars?
It'll be for lane, right, as well. Like, he brings you the push. Beastmaster is still one of the better Helm of the Overlord carriers, probably, I think, the only one except for the Lycan, which is potentially, we might see here, by the way, as I think both teams highly contest the hero. Oh, a Zeus pick. But yeah, lots of laning prowess, basically, in the Beastmaster. You can go for the Axis build if you end up getting counterpicked with, like, a Maiden or, like, an Ench in your lane, or you can go just for the regular boar build into Helm, and then just, you know, take over the enemy map.
I want to chat about this Zeus. We've seen it a lot in other regions. How are we seeing it play in South America? Is it primarily played as a core hero, or are you seeing a lot of 4 or 5 even Zeus?
The hero hasn't been much played in the region. That's like, I like to see that they started picking, but the hero has been played like only once by Infinity as a mid Zeus. It feels like we weren't so much in the meta, and I'm quite happy to see that we are leaning more towards it. I sorry that I almost interrupt you guys. It's because I got surprised that Wolf, they had something like 40 seconds for the pick. As a drafter and a coach, it really surprised me. Did they get penalty, or they like...
Yes, they currently, I read it in the lobby chat, they have a level 2 draft penalty. They are not all in the same team house, unfortunately, because of COVID. And therefore, they don't have player cameras for a couple other players that are playing remotely from probably their own homes or wherever they get to play from. So they were issued a level 2 draft penalty for the admin's decision. I don't know if it'll apply to all 3 games, if we have 3 games, but yeah, they've got a level 2 draft penalty.
Yeah, it's weird because also they changed the drafter. So as I pointed, could be possible. You see Duster's drafting. That's the first match that he's drafting. When I mentioned like things start to go wrong, they start to question where they're heading, what they're doing. But like Zeus Tiny seems like a very good opening. So I'd say I'm quite happy with this new beginning of the team. Also on Hokori, like what I mentioned is that like Clockwork would be the hero that fits better for them, and they do have that hero. Also they have like Beastmaster, which is a strong laner, provides vision for that Clockwork initiation. So both drafts do have good openings, in my opinion.
Can Zeus hop out of the Clockwork cogs, or does he get stuck in them?
He's got to be running, is the thing.
Yeah, so he just
to be able
hops
to hop
up
out. Yeah, so I'm not sure. Maybe if you time it correctly in between the battery assault procs, you might be able to jump out, I imagine.
I think you could probably not get enough of a run up.
Yeah,
perhaps.
That's the thing with him. It also might be a Zeus support, like a 5 even. Duster has been playing this quite a bit. I'm not so sure. Maybe a 4, I think, is probably where this hero is better suited. But I have been seeing a lot of like NA and SA pros, supports anyway, that have a lot of Zeus games, and it's not appeared in a lot of the games I've been able to cast. So I'm a little bit excited whether or not it'll be for ADR in the mid lane, or it'll be a support Zeus. I think it could potentially be a flex here for a Wolf team.
But both these heroes are flexes as well, presumably, because we've seen a lot of tiny carry in South America. We've seen a lot of tiny carry everywhere, but we've also seen a lot of tiny support and tiny mid,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
maybe not tiny 3. Where do you think Wolf team are more likely to play this, or is it a flex, a very strong flex for them here?
The thing is, like, both heroes, they flex for the same thing. Both are like 4 and mid, which I don't think is like the best choice that you can do, because you can get a hero that's decent against both. The thing is, like, Zeus and Tiny, they are so strong in the meta that they don't have much counters. Still, I would ban Puck, because Puck seems amazing against Zeus and can be decent against the Tiny. But besides that, it's a good flex on that sense.
Well, they're certainly banning silences with the Skyref Mage, and then also, well, it doesn't have a silence, the Ember, but it's long range initiation and stun, which is good against the Zeus.
Yeah, they
I
don't want to
also-
deal with El Micho Sky. Go ahead.
Yeah, I also think like that Doom makes a lot of sense against Zeus when you have like Beastmaster providing the vision. I think it's better than the Sky. Because as mentioned, like I was kind of flaming the Sky pick, right? I'm like, why is he always playing Sky? So I feel like if you're banning Sky, you're kind of doing a favor of like big Doom, it's better. So tough position here for Wolf.
Yeah, and I think Hokori, by the way, are telegraphing that they want to bring a lot of pressure in this lane as well. So I would, if I were Wolf Team, I'd be paying a little bit of attention to that position 4 ban besides Ilmisho, because I mean, you look at what Hokori have taken too. It's Ench in the first phase versus Duster makes sense, but also the Chen, right? So they really want to make sure that Beastmaster can still play around the boars. That's not going to stop Wolf Team from like picking Maiden and preventing that, but seems like Hokori are looking to really open up the game through the soft lane Beastmaster. I think that's a good strategy. It's like a clear direction to take your draft in.
Mm-hmm. You can just pick the Doom, though, on Wolf Team now. Do you hate that? Because presumably you pick a Doom, you just eat the Beastmaster creeps. Doesn't seem like a reasonable pick.
Doom 5 is really weird. I'd rather
Yeah.
Wyverns and Abaddon.
That's an interesting one. We're not seeing a lot of Abaddon. Talk me through this one.
Well, it's new for Duster this season, at least, is all as much as I could say about it. I think maybe Panda has played like a game on Abba. Yes, he certainly has. I remember the game Into a Faceless Void. It is strong here because you can dispel the Beastmaster Roar, of course, and it just feels awful to roar in Abba because he just pops his ulti anyway. So that's certainly the strength of the pick. It's something to back up a Zeus potentially as well. But this is a hero that also kind of struggles against a Clockwork, actually. Doesn't really like being trapped inside those cogs. He can't cast his spells. His cast range is abysmal. All his animations are super long. It's an interesting pick here. It gives a lot of credence to the position 5 clock.
Yeah, it's also really bad against Beastmaster in lane because you can't deal with the summons. Like, in the game, you're definitely good as a cover against the Roar, but in the lane it's terrible. So they really need a hard carry that deals with the Beastmaster. So either PA, Gyro, TB.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
That's what I'm thinking.
yeah.
Gyro could potentially be something they look into. In the meantime, I do like this Void Spirit pick a lot. Acceptor build versus Abba completely ruins him, completely silences a Zeus. You do lack the burst damage to kill a Tiny. That's kind of the only problem, is that you very easily give a lane to Tiny here. But other than that, I do like the Void Spirit for the potential builds he can go for this game.
Rubik 4 probably pick up there for Hokori. How do you feel about this one?
I don't like again because it also feels like this guy like having this range position 4. And then a Timber into Rubik. Okay, probably Wolf Team, they want to swap lanes and have the Timber on the Beastmaster lane. That's the only thing that would make sense for me.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something there. Because I think, like, the Rubik pick, the only thing that he does do, I think, effectively in lane is he can provide you with additional burst magic. So if Wolf Team did try and beat this Beastmaster Rubik lane with something like a TBPA, Beastmaster goes Axes, Rubik goes Fade Bolt, and then, like, you just kill these squishy Intiros that otherwise would kill boars, and then you lose that lane. So I think this is a pretty good strategy, actually, from Wolf Team to turn this on its heels.
Has this solidified their flex picks now? Are we both looking for carries for both of these two teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was never going to be a Tiny carry, I think. That's kind of fallen out of favor. So I think you're still probably flexing the Zeus, but I predict it'll end up being a Tiny mid personally. I don't know how you read this, Estini. But you can still flex that depending on whatever Hokori last pick, right? That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, the thing is, I would say, like, from the enemy team composition, you want Tiny mid against the Void Spirit, not Zeus. But when you consider you have a Timber, you kind of want the Tiny as 4 because you want, like, a hero that does something with rotations, and Zeus is a hero that's, like, playing the lane. Unless they go this 3 aggro with Zeus, Abaddon, but still, in that sense, like, Tiny is really good on 3 lanes with the toss because you have a lot of targets for repositioning. So it's like a tough choice. Like, are you prioritizing? That's the thing. Like, you can prioritize the Zeus mid with having a Tiny helping him. That's what would make more sense.
I think I'd probably still rather see the Tiny mid. I think a Zeus mid is decent for his laning prowess, even into a Void Spirit. I think it's doable with the 404 build. Because your Heavenly Jump, like, kind of destroys Void Spirit. All his animations are not good. Like, it's not a bad idea, honestly. But I think the tiny mid, so he can have a lane to rotate into, seems a little bit better to me, even though the Void can counter-rotate. It's kind of difficult. I think the tiny mid's a little safer.
Yeah, I'd say from players' perspective, it's gonna be tiny mid. Also, if you look at King RD profile, he's like out of his last 4 games, 3 were Zeus. So you can kind of expect it to be a 4 Zeus. They have overall last pick to decide it. Maybe depending on the carry matchup, they want to have, I don't know, a Zeus getting early level 6 or a Tiny with an early dagger. It can also come into the decision.
Also love just the spattering of core bans at the end, two of probably the most wide hero pools right now in terms of safe laners, right? They ban as much as they can, but there's actually still so much for both of these teams to pick. So Hokori will snag the Luna.
One of Yuma's favorite heroes from what I remember.
Yeah, if he can't get the morph, Luna's up there for sure. Good lane. Strong laning stage, especially with the clockwork. That might be problematic if Wolf Team were trying to do a lane swap, because that is going to slightly condition your carry pick, right? Timber even is not a really huge fan of this Luna lane, so I think that's a pretty good solution here for Hokori. No matter what, I think Luna's going to have a decent time.
Can they go crazy like Naga, some illusion base hero?
Medusa. Almost very similar looking heroes, but we.
Because the thing is, like, they can't deal with units at all on Hokori. They should maybe abuse that, but Wolf Team, they had no time to decide. As like we had no time to do the analysis because they lost. They don't have cameras.
Yeah,
we do.
Yeah.
But
it's a Zeus support, by the way, so it'll be tiny mid.
So what are we looking for here? What are Wolf Team looking to achieve? Are both these teams looking to go quite late?
The Wolf Team wants to go late. They need to survive the lanes, and I think then they've got a pretty decent shot here. Mid's going to be fine. That, I think, is going to be ADR's kind of game to carry the early here, because he needs to gank one of these side lanes. Beastmaster's going to be a bit hard. Oh, it's a bit rough, I think, Estini. I don't know. I think Hokori have a pretty solid strategy here. Luna should get farmed, no problem. And Beastmaster is going to need to be stopped, because I think he is enabled in this draft.
Yeah, I think things can go bad for Wolf Team from the very, very early game. It seems like Hokori, they have a snowball draft, and they don't have the tools to deal with it at Wolf Team. If the game goes late, yes, Wolf definitely has the upper hand on the late game, but it's very unlikely that it goes to the late game, because if it's played properly by Hokori, I can see how Wolf Team can stop them.
Okay, well, both of our analysts think that Hokori are going to roll over this early game and take a quick lead. We'll see. Will it go late? Let's find out with Snare and Bowie.
Thank you very much, Big Jams. And yes, indeed, this is the case that Hokori and Wolf Team playing together in what seems to be a proxy for a relegation matchup, Bowie. What do you make of this? The panel is very much in favor of this heavy snowball draft from the side of Hokori. And it makes sense, right? They've got this Beastmaster, Void Spirit, and Luna. Very easily could end the game in 20 minutes. Do you think they're going to do so, or do you have some good news for Team Wolf Team?
I mean, I can definitely see Wolf Team doing well this game, but the thing with the Hokori draft is that they need very little items. Like this Beastmaster, all he needs is a couple of levels and like a very cheap item on the Helmet Dominator. Luna provides the aura, Beastmaster provides the aura. You have this Void Spirit hero. So from the get-go, they can make moves around the map. Whereas with Wolf Team, this Tiny needs a Blink Dagger. And until that, it's just not going to do that much. Zeus and Abba, static heroes that need items as well. So it's one of those games where if their lanes don't go really well, it's easy for Hokori to snowball. So I hope to see Wolf Team playing these lanes well. I think this is definitely one aspect that they do very well. But they are experimenting a lot with heroes this time. I think the panel talked about it. The Zeus being picked and the Abba. Duster, has been playing Lich and Ench pretty much every game. Will they actually perform with these different heroes? If they can, I could see a bright future for them.
On the bright side, they do have this Tabo Timbersword, one of his most played heroes just all time in general. So if they can get a good lane off of it, I can see them doing well. But that's part of the problem, right? Is that even if Tabo does well, everything is locked behind this Blink Dagger from 4DR. They might be locked behind this early fight as well. This engagement over this bounty rune will go the way of Hokori. Wolf team trying to get a kill out of this. Got it slowed down by the lightning. Tabo in with the whirling death, but nice lucent beam from Yuma, creating some space for Goddic to escape. Will it be enough? It seems to be the case. All right, good times. He gets away on this clockwork, forces them to use quite a lot of spells. This took everything from King RD as well. The Zeus going to lane with nothing. Gonna have to quickly use these mangoes to have any influence on this laning phase.
Yeah, I don't really like this decision, if I have to be honest, especially because they know that Gardic walked up to the lane. It's not like this Timbersaw hero would struggle, but maybe they just want to try and out-deny Yuma here with the 2 heroes. It's definitely a possibility, but once the clock is back, I can see King RD struggling a little bit here.
Have to see how it goes for now. Yuma just chilling, hanging back, trying to not get too far forward. But as you mentioned, we'll just soak up this pressure. Goddic is now back. He has returned, can both protect the Luna and prevent them from being able to stop her farm. In fact, they're going to go onto King RD. They know that he went for this lightning, so there's no safety provided by the heavenly jump, but they lack the damage at this point in time. They get the last mini stuns in. Yuma, couple seconds until the lucent beam. They get it off, and they get the first blood. Goddic comes back into the lane, and not only does he prevent Luna from struggling here, Bowie, he enables her by getting them this first blood in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, a great decision from King RD. I really don't feel like Tavo would struggle. In fact, he would even prefer to be alone to get that fast level 2. So we'll see. But, first blood, always going to be very impactful. We talked about these lanes being a little bit fragile. So, gotta be very careful. King RD could potentially get a kill here. But yeah, just goes for the pull.
This kind of sucks as well, that you find yourself in this position where you failed to kill Goddic. You wasted so much mana. So again, we're going to have to see how King RD recovers in this situation. Already having to buy some additional pieces of clarities just to make sure that he has some mana. Let's talk about this mid lane though. This is one of the most important lanes of this game, right? You said that a 40er is going to be locked behind this Blink Dagger. They need that progression going. I've been seeing some Tinies also go lately for this Echo Saber from the mid lane. Does he have that latitude? Or is he like, is it just game losing if he does decide to go a little bit greedier in that route?
I mean, he'll definitely get Echo Saber eventually, but I think you just have to get Blink Dagger. Especially, like, everyone on the side, like, they already like stuns, so if you don't have that Blink Dagger to bring the tiny stuns to Hokori heroes, I just feel like they'll really struggle into making any moves. And you just have to make moves, or else your Medusa's gonna be smoke ganked. Your Timbersaw is gonna be collapsed upon. So it's definitely something they have to rush. Bottom, they also do get that Abba. One thing that Astini talked about in the panel that I liked a lot was the idea of sending this Timbersaw to the Beastmaster lane. Nowadays, where the the Wild Axes are being learned more, it might not be the best, but I still feel like it would be good. Medusa actually struggling quite a bit. I don't think she would struggle as much against the Luna, so kind of sad that Wolf Team didn't went for it.
I mean, they were probably just thinking in the more traditional routes. Just get everything as easy as humanly possible. Don't try to overthink the situation. I do agree that just putting anything to prevent Beastmaster from farming would be good. This hero is kind of nuts right now, honestly. There's a reason it's so heavily picked all across the world. Well, except China, but it's very, very good. I actually still don't understand why it's not picked as much in China. Like, we've spoken to some players about it, but I'm not satisfied by the answers. As it stands here, in this game, it's also really good because there's this period of the game where Medusa wants to be farming inside the triangle, farming jungle, and you can show up just with a smoke +1 with the Beastmaster and actually lock her down and kill her with the draft that they have right now. So it feels like this early good start on the Beastmaster can really be detrimental, especially since they got that early kill onto Duster as well.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about not really reinventing the wheel. I think if there's like one SA player that you can call like a conservative in terms of just wanting things to be done very standardized, is HFN. He just wants that standard lane where he gets his timings. The panel did kind of brushed about it a little bit. So it's good that you give this guy the everything that he needs to flourish. But though it is a team game, sometimes I do feel like they go overboard a little bit. It's not really a conversation about how good HFN is, but about how overall Wolf Team is good. And sometimes I feel like they waste a little bit of everyone else's potential by doubling down on HFN as much as they do.
Top lane. We'll see some of the potential can emerge here from King RD and Tavo. Regrettably, they lack the damage to chase down Gardic, but it is still enough of a threat to prevent King RD from going down. It is a team game, and so far the team is doing okay. HFN is getting his CS down bottom, mid's going okay for 40R. Only really Tavo and King RD who had some minor struggles at the beginning, but now that you've gotten yourself this third level rather, second point into the reactive armor, pretty low odds of dying in the top lane. So far, so good. Given that Hokori can easily run them over, I think it's very imperative that they do well in the lanes. Now that we are getting close to where this Void Spirit hits level 6, level 7, do you think that she might end up rotating to the top lane to try and enable Hokori even more and give them a bit of a juice from this early laning phase?
For sure, it's all going to be about the runes, right? Right now, he is kind of average on resources. If he can get, a haste rune, an arcane rune, there's a lot of potential. So now it's the tri-lane mid-time, as I like to talk. You usually see lots of supports running. Abba's probably going to be bottom because he has to babysit HFN. But everyone else probably going to be collapsing. And yeah, rune is stopped. So it doesn't really make it easier for Analog to rotate. But he's going to get a bounty. Maybe he'll consider. But this Dusa has 12 one charges. It's not an easy kill.
Let's see what they've got here. Vitaly on this Beastmaster hasn't been able to crack level 6 just yet, but level 5 is coming. They're not going to go for it. They'd go for this Whirling Wild Axis build, so no points into the boar either, so there's no slows to apply onto the Juicer. They really are thinking about going back in though, giving some space and time so that Vitaly does get access to the third point in the Axis. This jump, practically impossible. Void Spirit just CPs back mid, so that's definitely the right move to make at this time. Don't waste your time, come back, get your farm out. What kind of game is this for the Void Spirit build-wise, do you think?
I think there's a lot of value on the Ags just because the Abaddon is going to be playing with this Dusa. So making sure he cannot cast the shield is really good. Making sure the Zeus can't really cast any spells. All of the supports actually struggle a lot when they're silenced. So I wouldn't mind to see an Ags rush. Maybe he'll get like an intermediary item. Maybe a Kaya, maybe a Witchblade. But Ags looks pretty good for me.
Dude, if he goes Ags, Sanj, and Kaya, I mean, you were talking about it earlier, right? They lack stuns on the side of Wolf Team. They only really have this Tiny. Even with that build, you actually can't die, I don't think. Like, you have to major misplay to find yourself getting brought down. So we'll see what the decision will be. Bit of a quiet early game here. And these runes haven't necessarily been favorable for anybody to move off this mid lane. The levels that everybody's been putting these skill points into hasn't necessarily allowed for more aggression in the lanes. So who benefits from this more quiet game? I know that Wolf Team certainly has the better late game, but don't they also want to put a little bit of pressure onto Hokori so they don't hit this early mid-game timing themselves?
I mean, I don't think there's much that they can do right now. Analog actually gets pretty lucky here with the rune. He was low on HP, banked on getting this rune. And top lane, they find Gardic, but there is a rotation with the double damage we just saw him pick up, so we'll have to be careful.
See what he's gonna get here. Oh, misses the Aether Remnant. Might still have the necessary damage though. Tavo trying to get himself back into the trees here. Moving to the north side, trying to outthink them, but unfortunately they know exactly where he's going. And Unlock, you need to be a little bit careful here with how much damage he's taken so far. Tavo is still alive, just wasting so much time. They're even bringing another hero to rotate in. Oh my god, is he gonna get out of this? What? Alright, that's why Tavo still enjoys a 60% win rate despite playing this hero more than 50 times. What a player. Evades the gank, wastes so much time, even draws in another TP to the top lane, Bowie. He's just demolishing this early game right now on the side of Wolf Team.
Yeah, usually with Brazilian players, we love to use the ping excuse, but Mr. Analog is actually living in Peru, so I don't think he can really use that excuse in top lane. We do see Almisha dying.
Got himself taken down in this mid lane by 40R. That's going to bring closer this Blink Dagger for the Tiny. And that was also in conditions where he knew for a fact that neither Analog nor Gardic could rotate in to provide protection for Almisha. Very well played here by this Tiny. And the better this goes...
A Roar being wasted bottom. Vitaly tried to debut his Helm to Dom against this Duster Abba, but just wasted it. So some of these rotations from Hokori, they feel disjointed, not, executed to, as well as they could. And Wolf Team, they'll definitely love this. HFN now knows that a small gank's not going to happen because they do lack the hook shot, they lack the Roar. This is a really good start for him.
He also knows that some of these TPs that have been drawn out did prevent anything happening in this bottom lane. In the jungle now, doing his thing. This is classic HFN Dota, top of the net worth on this Medusa. Elmisho realizes the time that he's dealing with right now, trying to get into the jungle. Although doesn't have any access to wards here. They've already planted one down a little bit further south, but nothing that can really prevent HFN from farming. At the same time, though, Analog is going to be in a position very, very shortly to try and make something happen, whilst his own Luna just farming up the jungle. So farm. Luna versus Medusa. Good times, Bowie. Very exciting carry matchup, honestly.
Oh yeah. Speaking of exciting, the Blink Dagger on 4DR is getting pretty close. He actually didn't farm the stack on the triangle that they have, because the HFN would not be very happy about that. But you'll probably see some... Yeah, he is dead. But I think other teams would just allow their Tiny to farm that stack and get the quick Blink Dagger. Pretty surprised that he didn't go for it.
Ali's going to take down the tier 1 tower bottom. But hey, man, do you want to be in the team and tell HFN when you ask, where's my stack? And be like, oh, bro.
Oh, for the art, he goes for it. There. Oh,
Oh,
he's
no.
going to share. All right, they'll share.
I'm sure HFN is telling him, listen, fam, the second you have the gold for that Blink Dagger, you buy it immediately and you get the hell out of my triangle. Sends him packing right now. It's like, why are you here, fam? This is my area to farm.
Oh yeah, he's definitely going to enjoy that. The Yasha now being done. We'll see Tavo forcing top tower, but that is one of the struggles this Timbersaw hero has. Not the greatest forcing towers, which allows Hokori to kind of collapse in the big jungle towards the mid lane. So we already see that kind of fast tempo from Hokori starting to ignite.
Tali taking down the tier 1 tower bottom, progressing slowly but surely towards that harm of the Overlord. At that point, the Wolf team will find themselves in a bit of trouble. So now that they almost have this Blink Dagger for 40R, you need to see them opening up space on the map. Tavo still hasn't been able to take down the tower in the top lane, so that does give Hokori so much more freedom to play with. Gonna move on to Duster in this mid lane though. Lacking level 6 means that he is just food right now for the side of Hokori. They'll easily bring him down. They drop the Primal Roar to create space to run away from 40R. He still doesn't have his Blink Dagger. It's been purchased, but it hasn't been delivered. So they cannot keep this chase up afterwards. At the same time, though, Goddic forcing them to chase him on the other side of the fight. Might end up dying for this one, though. Out of spells, and very shortly will be out of life. Gets taken down by 40R. That does have the Blink Dagger reveal, though, so they can't smoke immediately off the back of this. But they might decide to do so anyway. And they go straight up, but this Observer Ward shouldn't have scouted it, but they have to know this is coming on the side of Hokori, right?
Oh, for sure. It was so sad, actually. Gardic, he was, as that fight was going on, he was jungling as ball camp to get his 6. He was so close. But then Tavo did kind of spot where he was, and they kill him before he gets the hook shot. So both position 5s kind of struggling with the experience. And I don't think the smoke is really going to amount to anything. It just makes sure Tavo doesn't get collapsed upon, and he'll take this tower. Unless Tavo goes a little bit too deep. I'm sorry, Vitaly. But it looks like he does understand what's happening.
A counter smoke coming in from Hokori right now. It's Analog and Elmisho closing in the gap right now. Tavo's actually been left alone. 40R is behind him, but they don't necessarily have Duster anymore. No Orphotic Shield to provide protection, so they're going to make the full jump. Enough damage onto Tavo with that Stolen Avalanche from Elmisho to provide the kill. Dude, this new Avalanche is still way too strong in my opinion. The instances do need a little bit of adjusting. And unfortunately, Tavo finds himself falling prey to that kind of damage. He will end up dying here. They still got the tier 1 tower though, but not that great to end up losing your life this early on.
Yeah, this is definitely... It felt kind of like a forced Timbersaw pick, just in the sense that the only... I guess there's Beastmaster as well, but he's not really going to be doing that much damage. Oh, mid.
Oh, big jump coming in. 40R getting the grab onto Elmisho, but Revenge immediately coming in from Analog there. Who else will they be able to bring down though? Looks like they just dropped the Aether Remnant to allow Analog to walk back. I mean, if Hokori just keeps doing this, that whenever Wolf team make a jump, try to get a kill, they immediately counter it back. That makes so much more space, and it just annoys 40R. You're like, really? I can't do all that much by myself, y'all. But at the end of the day here, wow, you know what's happening? It's classic Wolf team Dota, man. HFN is farming. Just quietly not being bothered at the moment.
Yeah. The Luna is pretty close in terms of net worth, but you're right. It does feel like HFN is getting a little bit more farm overall. But yeah, my point was that this Timbersaw hero gets heavily countered by both Luna and the Void Spirit. So it's not going to be the cleanest, one of those very feel-good moments for Timber. And I mean, as I say that, he just gets exploded.
I was about to say a demonstration of your point being made in the top lane as they jump on him. Because Analog went for this Witchblade build as well, certainly not lacking the necessary damage to get that kill. And Rubik can create issues as well for a hero like the Timbersaw. Anytime you have your stole spells like Timber Chain stolen away, just creates so much impact with 2 points in Arcane Supremacy. So they get that kill. They also manage to come back and defend this mid-tier 1 tower, prevent the catapults from doing too much damage here. So far, so okay. You were talking about how Luna does help to counter out the Timbersaw. What does Luna build in this game to make herself as effective as possible? She went for the early Monster Madness. BKB is coming soon. And then Ags. How do you feel about the Ags? That's what I really want to talk about.
I think Ags is insanely good on this Luna. I mean, I'm not sure about making it as soon as you finish your BKB. But the level 25 power spike once you have Ags is actually insane. Dusa, being this very immobile hero, actually struggles a lot against it. They don't have any Zoo, right, on Wolf Team. Not a lot of units to tank those instances. So I like it a lot. And Timbersaw should be in trouble.
I'm going to try to get away from the Luna, but even pre-Aghanim Scepter, more than enough damage with the Eclipse to get that kill. So that is Tavo losing his life again. Such a struggle in this game. Because this hero, you know, we're long past the days here, Bowie, where you just rush the Hood of Defiance or pipe every single game. He's forced to go into it nowadays, but because of that fact, there's so much magic damage. Rubik, White Spirit, Luna, just hurts so much anytime that Tavo's on the map. And it feels like he's the only one that can show on the map right now. HFN needs to be farming back in the jungle. 40R kind of needs to stay off the map a little bit, either farming to get the Echo Saber or just presenting a threat. But he needs to be careful now as well, because they're smoked up from Hokori, looking for 40R, wanting to delay any progression from this Tiny. Walks underneath an Observer Ward right now, but the angle of approach not going to be favorable for Hokori, so they'll just instead take the consolation prize of a tier 1 tower.
It's a very good consolation prize. And one thing that I would like to say is that, you know, Tavo's been struggling because of the natural counters, but I don't like his item build considering the sort of role he has in this game. I feel like he has to be this hero pushing the dead lane. He has to be this first point of contact usually. And so rushing Kaya to me feels very, very greedy. You know, he does have the hood now queued up, but it's pretty late. I think once you die twice like that, like the Zeus, it gets pretty hard.
Now. This fight's going to be very hard for 40R as well, as he's caught inside these power cards. They do manage to bring down the clockwork, but it will come at a cost. Yuma trying to roll in right now. Not enough damage to get the kill. They finally do manage it with Vitali's Wild Axes. However, the Dusa also showed up, dropping the Stone Gaze, forcing Hokori back. Tavo going way too far forward again. In danger between El Mishu and Yuma. They can't get the kill fast enough. We'll be able to retreat to the low ground. Still a 2-for-1 pickup here for the side of Hokori. They end up losing this Clockwork, sure, but they get the big prize of this Tiny. 40R dead again. And since he's gotten this Blink Dagger Bowie, he's been stuck mostly on his side of the map. Hasn't been able to actually make aggressive plays with his squad off the back of this initiation item.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to the support heroes that they have. You know, on Hokori, you have this Clockwork hero that can initiate, provide vision. But Wolf Team being Wolf Team, just trying to get, you know, HFN the best lane possible, the perfect babysitter. It kind of slows down or it makes it weird for this Tiny, as farmed as he is, or was, to really provide much. Now, we do see this Roche attempt. No Stone Gaze on the side of Wolf Team. Okay.
Oh. 40R still will blink in though, and they have enough damage between that and the Thunder God to bring down this Clockwork. But the fight though, he goes himself into the Eclipse for Yuma. BKB Eclipse, way too much damage for this 40R Tiny. And Analog almost gets brought down by the Chakram from Tavo. But they lack the damage, kill this Void Spirit, so he'll be able to escape as well. Hokori did need to buy back on both of their supports for this, so they can't afford to give up positioning around this Roshan pit, but they're scared to go back in, don't want to really commit for these diebacks, and they don't know that this Tiny doesn't have buyback whatsoever. So they're going to let this attempt fade into the wind here, Bowie. That was a bit of an ambitious move, I think, from the side of Hokori to go in for that early Roche attempt. Especially considering that, yes, there's no Stone Gaze, but there's still a lot of damage from the Wolf Team heroes at this stage of the game. And not enough protection on the supports right now.
Yeah, they definitely didn't expect that the cliff ward on the Wolf team side, it allowed for DR to go for such a bold initiation. But overall, I do really like how HFN played that fight. Even without the Stone Gaze, even without this Kari timing that he's working towards, he actually walks with the team, provides vision. At least, like, the fact that he's there and throwing spells just buys time, just takes them out of the Roche pit, and now he has Stone Gaze, and it's much harder for Hokori to do anything about it. So, very nicely done. I think, you know, HFN kind of gets some... A lot of people kind of question that he farms too much, but moves like this one are things that people forget about and that are very important. Like, as good of a farmer as you are, you still need to make those moves, or your team will just fall behind, right? Because so much net worth is concentrated on the Dusa that you're bound to lose fights.
Please come and preach those gospel in my pubs, Bowie. I would appreciate that very much. Mid lane, 40R will make another jump. They'll catch out Almisho here, just throwing him back towards the rest of the squad. Easy, quick kill. And now that HFN has hit that Scotty timing you were just talking about, we'll utilize it towards pushing tier 1 tower in this mid lane. That's a Grove Bow as well. That is very fortunate. And now they're looking for analog as well. 40R onto him. The avalanche toss will be there, but not enough lockdown. We've spoken about it time and time again. 40R, the only real source of stun. So if you can't kill him in the duration of the avalanche toss, you just cannot kill them at all. So Analog not only just escapes that fight, also manages to finish off his Aghanim Scepter now. You were talking earlier about just how good this item can be in this game. Where would you want to see them reveal it? Or do you think they should wait a little bit before forcing a fight?
I do feel like they're ready to fight, but they're also in no rush just because it feels like Yuma is rushing that eggs. It's not usually the timing that I see Luna's rush it. I really feel like the value comes out of the level 20 and 25 power spike, but it's pretty strong, you know. This Dusa doesn't have a BKB, and I guess it is queued up now. HFN probably clicked on the Luna and realized what Yuma is up to. It's kind of a weird power spike because it doesn't allow you to farm faster, but if you're forcing a Dusa to go BKB this early, it kind of balances itself out in a way. So, very interested to see how... Oh, he actually disassembled the Dragonlance again. This is so cool. Yeah, they're ready to fight. I think they really got a smoke. And either force Roche and fight with that eggs, or get a pick off so they can Roche.
Arm of the Overlord, Aghanim Scepter on 2 of their core heroes. Certainly a good time to fight, and they're going to look for it now with the smoke. Not coming across anybody just yet. Their vision isn't actually that good at the moment. They need these rocket flares to try and create space, but Gardic doesn't want to reveal exactly where they're at. Instead, they'll go in with the hook shot directly onto Tavo. Do they have the damage to kill the Timbersaw? No, they don't. Gardic dies instead. They'll have enough damage to kill King RD. They need to flee and retreat, however, because now that they've wasted this salvo of spells, they need to wait until they can go again. They almost end up actually losing some of their Beastmaster army here. Yuma forced to end up denying the Ancient Thunderhide. Alright, 1-for-1 trade there. However, that was Hokori making the reveal with their jump. They don't manage to find the fight that they were looking for here, Bowie. So they will reset for now.
This was not a great jump. They, as you said, they had no vision. They forced this into a Tavo that now, you know, after a couple of minutes farming, has Kaya Sanj and a Hood. So he is very hard to be brought down. The shield from the Abba also helped a bit. I really feel like they had to kill Medusa. Just, oh, and now that they actually wasted a power spike, he goes back to the butterfly. Dude, HFN is such a naughty boy. He's like, okay, this is on cooldown for a bit. I'll make sure to just get my butterfly here.
Mid lane, Vitaly's in trouble. Gonna get jumped on. 40R will find them, and they have more than enough damage to burst them from 100 to 0. Not only that, they're gonna try and clean up the Ancient Black Dragon as well. So some additional gold being grabbed here. This might open up Roshan for them. They're looking inside it here. HFN making the move over. Not a favorable rune. Oh no, it's a double. Of course it's a double damage. All right, let's go. Gaben smiles upon the side of Wolf Team. They've been scouted right now by this Beastmaster Hawk, but it's not going to matter. As without the Beastmaster himself being available, they don't have the Primal Roar. They don't have the damage to really threaten the Dusa. I mean, but they're going to try anyway. They're going to still go for this here, by the way.
Eclipse level 20 power spike now. This is going to hurt way more than it did the first time. This is very greedy from Wolf Team.
See if they can get away with this. HFN will grab the Aegis, still taking so much damage from this ultimate from Yuma. Gonna be enough to kill the Timbersaw, but nobody else at least. In the meantime, Gardic and Elmisho find themselves getting cleaned up. by the 2 cores on the side of Wolf Team. So yeah, sure, Tabo does die. Yeah, he tanks pretty much the entirety of the Eclipse ultimate. But who cares? HFN got this Aegis. He's still in a decent position. And he didn't have to buy BKB. And in fact, he's about to have the Butterfly anyway down in this bottom lane. Things are starting to look very, very good for Wolf Team. And have Hokori missed their timing here, Bowie?
I think a little bit. You know, this Ags purchase, I kind of talked about it. The thing with it is you need to make sure your Eclipse counts every time, or else you would much rather have a Butterfly. You would much rather have like a Daedalus Shard. So because they forced this a little bit, and they also, you know, wasted that Roche attempt, I'm not feeling it right now. You still scale pretty well because he went for this Eclipse cooldown talent instead of the usual Lucent Beam one. But it does give Wolf Team a lot of time, and Analog might be dead here.
He's definitely going to be able to die. Tabo does bring him down. They will at least get some revenge by taking down 40R as well. However, this fight not looking as favorable as they would want it to. Yuma pops BKB directly onto Tabo's face, and they will have enough damage to really threaten the life of the Simba. Not just threaten it, but take it outright. 2-for-1 engagement so far. Duster getting the micro stun by Gardic. Be forced to go into that borrowed time. Hokori claimed the tier 1 tower in the process as well, so HFN certainly not going to want to join the fight right now, and they're going to go for more. They get the full grab onto King RD. That ultimate, man. Aghanim Scepter Yuna. It might not count for the most killing a Zeus, but they still got a decent fight prior to that and pick up 3 heroes in total on the top side of the map.
It was a huge play by Hokori. They actually saw HFN TP into the bottom side of the map, and until now, his TP was on cooldown. So even though Wolf Team held the Aegis for so long, that was a really greedy TP from Wolf Team. I guess they didn't really want to use that Aegis to like grab more map control, and that lack of proactiveness just allowed Hokori to kind of balance things out. Usually, you would see the gold advantage increase towards Wolf Team, but the opposite actually happened, just because he went for this very greedy TP on HFN.
Looks like he got the memo. He's listening to you right now, Bowie. He's now with the rest of the team. He's like, right, boys, don't do that again. Big Daddy HFN is here to keep you all safe. Far too much strength for anybody to fight against. Although Misho is just sticking around in the top lane. I almost killed the Medusa courier. He's just gonna TP out. What a player. That was so funny.
Either way, I want to keep tabs on the neutral items here. If by some chance this Luna grabs the Timeless Relic, baby, it's insane. Because now, you like if you actually use your eggs and you get the 25-second Eclipse Lucent mini stun, you cannot BKB out of it. It's just permanent stun.
BKB, Vitali using it to deny 40R a decent initiation, and in fact they get the turnaround. Yuma with the ultimate coming in from the Luna, almost getting 40R killed. This Tiny forced to pop BKB and run away. This is an absolute disaster. Having to smoke up as Wolf Team and finding yourself not just forced away here, Bowie, but you have to pop BKB. That was the 9-second charge for 40R. Doesn't actually get to use it in this fight. Not great. That's not supposed to happen.
That's the Aegis. They were all set up top, and they could have probably gotten that tier 2 top tower. But making that move and, you know, not getting kills and not getting the map control, it's pretty bad. Oh, okay, 4DR.
This is a very
no BKB on
ambitious
him.
Approach from the Tiny. Doesn't have BKB. Yeah, he could actually die here. He's actually gonna die. He's dead. Okay. Read is good. 999 says the Tiny player here. Almisho just TPs away to safety. Analog still has an Astral Step. The TP to safety as well. Alright, so the TP down bottom last time around from HFN. Certainly we can understand what the rationale was. Wants to finish Butterfly, push out that bottom wave. What was the rationale for the Tiny being top there? Like, there's nobody nearby him, didn't have BKB. That's such a weird move, Bowie.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just one of those disjointed moves, you know. You get the Aegis, you really want to do something with it, but you get distracted. And it feels like Wolf Team, a lot of times their mid-game can struggle because, you know, you have HFN doing this and 4DR doing that. And not that much cohesion, because it feels like the timing HFN wants to play for, it's still a little bit far away. I think he really wants this BKB on him, but he has the money if he would like to buy it.
Has that cash. Then he's probably deliberating with himself whether or not he should go BKB or something else for a little bit more damage. Now, though, they have resisted a little bit of this push from Hokori, and with the respawn of 40R, could make a move of their own. They're playing this very, very coyly, though. They understand just how much burst damage Hokori has available to them. And look at this build from the Luna, fam. All right, you wanted to see Timeless Relic. We're not going to get a Relic, but looks like we're going to get an Octarine Core from this Luna. Okay, how do you feel about this?
I mean, it's the build. I think when you go Ags, you kind of have to double down on this build. And once you get the Aetherlands with the Eclipse cooldown reduction talent, like it allows you to have Eclipse every fight, and you really need it. The heroes on Wolf team, like you don't want to buy BKB on Timber, but there you go, he's buying a BKB, so that's less damage coming from that draft. This Tiny doesn't want to pop BKB to dodge an Eclipse, probably would be forced for it. Zeus going Ags, so he'll probably just die every fight, and that is like this hero is usually kind of pesky and hard to die. As I say that though, he literally dies, so maybe not that hard to die.
They might find revenge though. 40R looking in towards El Misho. Duster's here as well. Can they find him before he manages to blink away to safety? 3 seconds remaining, but it gets disabled. And there's the damage that they need. Duster able to pick up that kill. A little bit of gold for poor Abaddon in the situation. It creates the space as well for Tavo to finish BKB on this Timber. And they're not going BKB on the Medusa. She's opting instead for a Lincoln Sphere. She understands that she's going to be the primary raw target, so somebody on the team has to get this item. Between this as well as Duster's Orthotic Shield, HFN should realistically never be stunned again by the Beastmaster. Now a lot more responsibility on this Clockwork. Speaking of Beastmaster, he's in the top lane. They're jumping onto Tavo. And well, might have BKB, my friend, but without a Lincoln Sphere, we have still the Primal Roar, and we have more than enough damage within that short window to kill you from 100 to 0. Okay, that's a good kill for Hokori, and also positioning for them around the Roshan pit, because when the big boy respawns, they want to make sure they have the adequate vision around the area.
Yeah, that's really the power of the Beastmaster. He also went for the Shard, so they have lots of ways to set up for that Eclipse. So it's not like this Luna decided to go Ags randomly. The draft really enables this Eclipse to be effective, right? You have 2 BKB piercing stuns on the clock and the Beastmaster. You have the Shard on the Beastmaster. Lots of like hard to even dodge spells. And the cast range on this freaking Ags is insane. It's like 3k or 2k. It's
a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, you also got the Psychic Headband. You wanted to talk about some of these neutral items earlier. Yuma literally swapped out a Paladin Sword and is backpacking a Titan Sliver in favor of having this headband for that additional cost range. So you said he wants to double down on how this build functions. When you're ignoring Titan Slivers on Luna, then you know that it's all about the Aghanim Scepter. Top lane, they managed to find a kill onto Tavo. Vitali, man, this Assassination Beastmaster strikes yet again. Tavo is just not allowed to be on the map right now.
Yeah, it's a really rough game for him. I feel like the fact that HFN never decided to get BKB, so it's just like farming and farming for his next timing, just makes this Timber so useless. Like, he's actually very powerful, but Wolf team is just not willing to do anything, at least so far. And that just allows them to getting pickoffs and pickoffs, and sure, HFN is farmed, but look at 4DR. Everyone inside of Wolf team is paying a hefty price for the build that HFN is going for, and it just makes the game pretty hard. Speaking of HFN, he is out of position.
HFN! Very much out of position in a very far forward area with no BKB, tanking a lot of magic damage from Hokori. Does still manage to get off the Stone Gaze though. They can't finish off the kill. They steal Split Shot on El Misho. Very useful. Well, well, that is, let's see, utilization of spells from Hokori. BKB is being used. They're not done just yet though. Vitali throws out the Primal Roar, immediately gets itself dispelled. So now they might want to jump back from Wolf Team. 40R has Blink in a couple seconds. Thinking about it, but they don't have a clear route of jump. Alright, he might have been out of position on HFN, but we're getting to the point where they don't actually have the out-and-out damage to kill the Dusa if she has any allies nearby her. And indeed, in that case, she did. She survives. And now, because they know there's no Primal Roar, there's no access to Eclipse, there's no BKB on Beastmaster, they're going straight into the Roshan picture.
Yeah, the problem is that they use the Eclipse in the creep wave, so the creeps actually tanked a fair amount. And as you said, the Abaddon was nearby. I don't think the Medusa can really die to this right now. The cooldown is coming. They have 5 seconds. Oh man, it's so close.
Oh, that use ultimate with the jump on 40R, managing to
Here we
bring
go.
down Almisho. Got it! Getting the jump in himself and Unlock, stealing away this Roshan. Aegis snapped away by the Void Spirit, and now suddenly there's danger for this Medusa. The Eclipse flying onto her face, and Unlock staying alive with this Ghost Scepter for now. Not going to be for too much longer though. Eventually getting taken out. That's 1 life gone. Vitaly trying to run away, not going to be able to do so, as he'll get cleaved down by 40R's big thwack of the tree. Analog, of course, will be able to jump away easily within the Roshan pit, but has done his job. Stolen away this Rosh, stolen away this Aegis. That's going to be big plays from Hokori. Analog won't die for this either. And with this Aghanim Shard, easily able to escape with that extra Dissimulate ring. Okay, good stuff, Hokori. I mean, might not be able to kill the Medusa, but you can prevent her from becoming completely unkillable by stealing away her Aegis.
Yeah, I mean, still unfortunate that they don't get the Aegis, because it definitely felt like Hokori was in an advantageous position. But this E-Blade on the Void Spirit is another thing that will enable the Eclipse. The big problem is this Duster Abba, right? He just presses Borrow Time, tanks half of the Eclipse. They kinda need to go on targets that are away from Duster, because he's just pressing R and it feels like it's tickling him. I mean, it literally is tickling him.
Literally no damage being done. And it kind of sucks, right? The fact that you can be Yuma, having invested north of 10k gold, it feels like at this point, into a specific way to play this hero. And then the opposition's 5 support just presses 1 button to counteract you completely. Doesn't feel great. So the smoke needs to pay off for them. They've made a lot of these smokes, and it feels like it's been a while since one of them has panned out. Feels like most of their pickoffs have just been on Tavo being caught out randomly on the map instead of being actually able to connect with their moves on the map.
Yeah, I agree. It's weird because in a way I feel like Hokori is playing much better than Wolf Team, but they are forcing the smokes in a weird way, so that a lot of the times like the smokes spin out well for Wolf Team just because they're either unlucky or forcing their hand a little bit too much. So a bit unfortunate for Hokori, but this Dusa definitely raid boss time for her. With the split shot uses modifiers, that's going to be a lot of physical damage coming out, and they have to go back. This is going to be some damage on that tower.
No way you can allow this to happen. Analog will just clear out those creep waves as quickly as possible, but still gonna force through this damage. Get a TP or 2 to come home. And unfortunately, yes, you have this Luna, but Luna hasn't gone for this Rising build. So this push mostly gonna come down to Vitaly's prowess on the Beastmaster. They have King RD here. They're actually just gonna jump immediately onto the Zeus. No buyback available for him. Does die immediately though, because HFN is there with the right clicks. I can understand the rationale here, but once you end up losing the army as well, gold-wise, you actually trade worse on the side of Hokori at this point. And they just come home. They don't really mind and care about this. HFN will gladly recontrol this jungle, keep farming here. Hokori, you were mentioning that they are playing better right now, but strategically, it feels like Wolf Team is getting more out of what they want to be doing on the map at present.
All right, pay attention. They dropped the Spell Prism on the side of Hokori. That's probably the best item for Yuma right now. But if he gets the Relic, dude, that's when this hero becomes, like, you increase so much damage and you just insta-lockdown if someone is isolated. It's really freaking good.
He's farming jungle right now. Somebody needs to get on this ASAP. Nobody's in the jungle. Got it. You're right next to a camp. Do something. Oh my god.
And Yuma actually keeping the Psychic Headband right now. They want to give the Spell Prism to Void Spirit. He is 25 as well. So really good on both of those players.
Oof, poor Goddic will be forced into a almost dead position. Does manage to hookshot away to safety. Doesn't kill creeps on the way out, however, so there's still neutral items being left in the tank. Oh, there it is. Oh no, wrong team. Timeless Relic does get found, but by Wolf Team. Sorry, bro.
Okay. Nah, it's alright. They still have 2 drops. Well, let's see if Gaben will be kind to Hokori.
Right, let's see Yuma on these Ancients now. This is actually the most exciting part of this part of the game.
They got it.
They got it. Awesome.
Right, Rubik, give it to the Luna. Here we go.
Yuma's already backpacked it. I got it on the stash. It's like, that's mine, my friend.
Dude, it's so good. It's like the only way to deal with that is having Assange or having status resistance from the Sliver, both of which Mr. HFN doesn't have. So very interested to see if they'll, I feel like I've been hyping up this X for a while, and overall it's been underwhelming. So I hope this finally, makes it look good.
Listen, Yuma, not just this game, it's on the line. Analog getting taken down in a very awkward position there. Okay. Well, that's only fair, right? We've seen 40-yard die in the top lane randomly, so the enemy mid has to do the same thing too. It's okay.
Yeah, right.
A bit of copium, though.
Both mid players need to die at 40 minutes.
Dude, he needs to buy back, actually. They're going to come for this mid Rex.
Very possible.
They could run down this lane. They've got 2 siege wagons here. This is a very scary time to be alive. Hokori need to come back for this. Yuma, is he ready? Yuma has a double damage rune, though. Double damage with the Aghanim Scepter and Timeless Relic, Ags, Octarine. This build has to pan out right now. Yuma, this game, as well as Bowie's reputation on the line here, you need to come out clutch. Skardik ends up getting taken down in this mid lane. Now that's 2 heroes on the field of play removed. Suddenly, Wolf Team have this numerical advantage. They'll buy back on the clockwork. HFN doesn't have an Aegis, so he can't position too far forward here. Still, though, easily able to take away this range Rax. What can they do to defend this melee? Jump in from 40 yards, trying to find El Nisho, but the Primal Roar from Vitali will buy space and time. Enable them to get back on the rest of these Hokori heroes. However, HFN triggers the Stone Gaze, so that's more than enough for them to get out with a lane of Rax taken. They opt not to buy back, but it's a very painful and costly decision here, Bowie. Will end up costing them this mid lane of Rax.
Yeah, I mean, HFN finally buys BKB, and so they decide that taking that fight is going to be disadvantageous no matter what. Buying back on Analog would just be, extra cost for Hokori. Refresher is ready now, so they ideally, you want to force the first BKB and get that second Eclipse. The problem, it's hard to execute. As HFN, he'll just walk to a lane, he right-clicks, and he's going to be doing irreparable damage to those structures. This Luna is much harder to execute, which a lot of times I feel like it's Hokori's downfall. They, they're nerds, as Brazilians would say. They love to, watch different regions and try out the newest technologies around Dota 2. And that's fun. I think that allows you to improve as a team, but sometimes reinventing the wheel is costly. Let's see what happens here. Fight is brewing. Roast about to spawn.
Yeah. Another fight that Hokori needs much more than Wolf Team. Really struggling to find an inroad into this. However, it's another fight that they need to be very careful about. They bought out on this Luna for this refresher, so she lacks buyback. Yuma ends up dying here. The game pretty much ends at that point. Also do not have buyback available for Analog, as he himself also opted to buy out completely. Very scary times to be around here. So Hokori don't want to take the risk, but that benefits Wolf Team just fine. HFN will happily just go to the top lane, roll this right-click damage, force some TPs home. Like you mentioned, this is irreparable damage. You do not have access to a Treant Protector or anything. Thank God there's no more repair kits. That's just a tier 3 tower. They have to all come home so soon. They've seen how quickly this damage can come out. They can't allow this to happen.
Really long respawn timer on Roche, so I'm already pretty anxious and nervous. I think we'll have 2 minutes of way more anxiety, because nothing really is going to be solved until Roshan spawns. I don't think Wolf Team is going to force high ground that much, because they know, if they get wiped out, it's a free rush for Hokori. Same thing for Hokori. You don't want to take a fight and suddenly Roche spawns and Wolf Team just goes for it when all of your spells are on cooldown. It's a slippery slope for both sides.
Wolf Team, of course, they have the nearby presence on the Roshan pit, so they'll know when he's up. And for the side of Hokori, several methods of spamming inside the pit, either hawks or rocket flares. So they'll also know immediately when the big man does return. Fortunately for them, though, these 2 minutes does create some space and time for buybacks to be farmed up. Both Vitali and Analog trying to do so on the map. In this bottom lane, of course, the Luna is going to be joining them. She also needs to have this buyback hold. They can get to these buybacks, and even if they lose a Roshan fight, it's not as anxiety striking for them. Hang on, D. We'll get taken out by Analog. Okay, that's a good kill. Also get them closer towards having buyback, and it means Wolf Team have one less hero on the map to force the Roche with if he does respawn right now. Of course, Hokori do not know that, but this is creating space, which is what they need right now.
Yeah, it's such a painful moment for Hokori because they got that kill. They have Arcane on Yuma, so you really want to take a fight. But,
Oh no! Analog? Okay, out of PKB.
Okay. Just a TP bottom. They're splitting up. This could be a very good fight for Hokori now that they have the Dusa showing bottom. I think this Tavo is dead. Oh no, he bombs BKB. Oh man.
Preemptive BKB and Vitali is not nearby enough, but because he TP'd out, that means that they have one fewer hero around this area. Oh, 40! Oh my god, so much damage coming in there from this Eclipse of the Luna. Vitali will be there to follow up. They go directly onto 40R. They have no vision though, so this Eclipse doesn't go onto anybody. Duster also tanking up so much of this damage. King RD buys back, throws on the ultimate as well as the Nimbus Cloud. Gonna force back Hokori. Misho still alive right now. Gardic trying to create some space with the power cards. Even drop down an Aether Remnants too. So they'll all be able to flee, get out en masse. But that was a lot of spell usage that doesn't allow them to actually get that kill onto 40R. BKB was utilized by him. But we're seeing the defensive prowess against this Eclipse build. Between the BKB and just Duster, it feels like there's so much execution required to make this Eclipse build work out for them here.
Yeah, it's really the problem. You know, at the end of the day, Duster played really well. I think he was always following the right core at the right time. He saved a lot of people just by being nearby. Tanked so much damage. And once again, they take that fight right before Roche spawns. It's the same thing that we saw with second Roche. This might be the nail in the coffin. I feel like the way for Hokori to win now is not really fight Wolf Team, but go for the split push moves to just like try and separate them. I think it's impossible to really fight Wolf Team 5 vs 5 with this build on the Luna.
Oh god, I feel so bad for Analog. Had he made that move 3 seconds sooner, he actually might have been able to steal this Aegis. Because he doesn't, HFN gets an Aegis, gets a cheese, gets the Aghanims, and they will be able to kill 40R down bottom utilizing this Eclipse build. However, that's mainly because the rest of the team was prioritizing bringing down this big man. Oh, he actually did steal the cheese. All right, Analog got something out of it. Steals the cheese away at the very least. So him doing that doesn't allow the full suite of goodies onto the Dusa, but now the problem is here, Bowie. Once you get this respawn on the Tiny, pretty much nothing stopping Wolf Team from just coming for you, trying to end this game here and now because of how strong the HFN Medusa is.
Yeah, I mean, it's already a good move from Hokori because they not only killed the Tiny, but they forced everyone to TP bottom. They were on the top side, right? They could have probably walked with Aegis to take those barracks. Wolf Team now, I think their best bet is taking that tier 2 in the bottom side of the map. That's the only thing kind of standing between getting Megas for Wolf Team. But they kind of leave the area, so I'm not a big fan of that move. Maybe without HFN. Oh, hello.
Okay, big jump, Tavo. Might be in a spot of bother, or rather they find Duster, excuse me. He's inside the power cogs, should easily die here. And, oh, Vitali, not one of the most satisfying things in the world. Like, stunning and abandoned. And you're like, where's your Aphotic Shield now? Who's getting you out of this, buddy? That was very satisfying kill to watch, honestly.
Kind of crazy. Like, it felt like for 50 minutes, Hokori struggled really hard to split up Wolf Team. But they are finally able to do that. And once they are split up, you can see how easy they can get those pickoffs. Even this Dusa has to be very careful once the Abba is dead.
Dusa is playing some 7/8 slot Dota at this point in time. BKB Manta being backpacked in lieu of having the BTs as this Aegis. Mean in the mid lane, they're going to make this big jump and they find 4DR. That time the Eclipse build does work out. El Misho will die for this, but that's a Tiny dead yet again. Buyback is available, but they don't really care about buyback. They care about splitting the map and forcing Wolf Team into an uncomfortable position. Like you mentioned, because this is all about this Medusa, Wolf Team will never do anything unless she is fully backed up. So every individual pickoff buys more and more time for the side of Hokori.
Exactly. I'm starting to get hyped. Feels like they are finally able to, I mean, even if they don't find this Dusa or don't get any big kills, the Aegis duration is already more than half wasted. You can see that HFN is starting to walk, but he's also split up, especially with Analog in the top side. They're not really going to accomplish a lot, so kudos to Hokori. They did really good moves splitting up Wolf Team, getting those pickoffs, the lane, as you said, and you know, eventually you will feel the pressure of this Dusa being pretty much half of your net worth. Like, the other heroes need something to work with.
Even though Wolf Team are feeling strong with this Medusa, it is the case that it's a very top-heavy sort of feeling. And the quality is quite stark on the side of Wolf Team.
Yeah.
As well, Hokori, very good distribution of gold on all their heroes. Everybody has a little piece of gold. Gonna have farm towards the refresher for Analog. Vitali as well going in towards a Hex. Already has access to his refresher. Might need to use it in this mid lane though. Tavo jumping in onto him. King RD throws in the ultimate and the Nimbus. There's gonna be the first primal roll out onto Tavo. Immediate escape coming in from both the Luna and the Beastmaster. They want no part of this. Almost catching out the Beastmaster TP. BKB did expire, but King RD not fast enough with the Lightning Bolt. Okay. They don't really care about getting kills, it seems, at this point, Hokori. They just get out. They're gone. Analog might not be as lucky, though. But, okay, there's nobody to really close him down. So it's 40R. A little bit too far away here with the Silver Edge. You can't catch up in time.
Wasting so much time from Wolf Team. Oh, we do find the Rubik.
Aeondas will buy some time here. HFN gonna be there using the bots too to show up directly onto this tiny Misho. Using the Ghost Scepter forced off to draw their attention away from where Analog went. Will end up dying, but there is still a buyback available for this Rubik if needed. And Analog in the meantime finishes the refresher. While that's happening, bottom lane's also being forced out, so they're further and further away from the lane of barracks. It's not great to lose the Rubik at this point, but you're just forcing so many shenanigans on the map that I think it's an acceptable price to pay.
It's a game of cat and mouse. Like, you see a Wolf Team starting to group up top, and then, like, there's a hero mid, and there's, like, freaking Ancients hitting your range barracks. They even forced Glyph, and Aegis was wasted, so I don't think Wolf Team can do much. They might force buybacks, but if they force buybacks with these heroes showing up bottom, they might just die on Vitali.
Actually just gonna jump onto Zeus. King RD with the jump from Vitali. They get the quick kill, and Duster coming into the fray as well, having to pop the borrowed time very, very quickly. Unfortunately though, Vitali already refreshed, so they have the second primal roar if needed. They're not going to need it though. Tavo shows up with the BKB to try and defend. Won't be able to do so. There's 3 heroes dead, but at the same time, HFN is being forced back home, but they're going straight for the base. Can HFN TP home? Will he be prevented by doing so by Iconic? It looks that way. Oh my god, are they about to win this game right now? Tavo buys back, but Tavo gonna be in danger here. TP gets cancelled away from the Medusa. She can't come home to defend. She can't come home to save this game. So Hokori will steal it away from under Wolf's team's noses. GG, well played is called. They get the dub. They get the win. They split the map for so long, Bowie. They finally managed to take away this Aegis. They take away the dub. Hokori. Wow. That was some Dota 2. They make the Aghanims Eclipse work out on this Luna. You know, maybe not for a direct reason, but somehow it works out in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like they dismantled everything that Wolf Team wanted to do. Everything that the lineup and the build that HFN went for screamed, I want to group up, hit my timings with an Aegis, and win the game. And for like 10 minutes, Wolf Team was trying to chase the split pushing units in the bottom side. They were trying to kill, you know, this Rubik split pushing. But slowly and steadily, Hokori, you know, they just outplayed Wolf Team. I don't think there's a different way to put it. You know, Wolf Team, they farmed well. I think HFN, you know, had everything he needed. But it's not about your hero. It's about a team game. And I think as a team, Hokori played much better. Kudos to them. You know, super greedy and weird build on Yuma. I'm just very proud of the boys because I don't think it's easy to do what they did here.
No, not at all. You were mentioning it in the game, right? That these guys are nerds. And you can almost see the nerdy thinking, right? They're like, okay, for us to win, we can't actually win a heads-up fight versus Dusa. What do we need to do to pick apart the pieces, create opportunities and slivers of chances to go in for these fights? We see one hero down bottom, cool, let's jump them. Dusa's not there. We'll just make sure somebody's there to prevent Dusa coming home. As soon as they see the opportunity, they go for it. There's zero hesitation, zero lack of desire to make the jump. And sure, throughout the game, some of their movements didn't connect as expected, but when it mattered, when they had to connect, it does, and it gets them a win at the end of the day. What a game. That's a very beautiful way to start off a series. So Hokori putting 1 foot ahead right now in this series and allowing themselves to somewhat avoid the scariness of being relegated. As it stands right now, Wolf Team need to come back into this one. I don't know if they can do it. Big Jams You and the gang, what do y'all think about what we just saw here from Hokori and Wolf Team?
Well, as Snare said, Hokori snatching the victory from under the noses of Wolf Team there with a play when it very much mattered. It's an interesting game to break down. I'm really excited to get into it. Seek and Strike, what were your immediate thoughts on what happened there?
Hokori just played the map like fantastic. Like every single time Aegis got picked up by Wolf Team, it felt like they were just kind of running around, always solving an issue. Got easier towards the end when eventually you had like bots on all these cores. Bots too, even picked up by HFN, which does actually reduce your TP time now. So he was TP'ing even faster. The game got delayed for so long because Duster was really great with his positioning. But eventually a little cheeky outplay from Hokori when I honestly thought they were going to lose means that they take the game. That was really, really cool.
Stinley, do you think Wolf Team could have done anything with that? Because it seems like it was very difficult for them. They were constantly getting pushed. Their Tiny was constantly being blasted down from pretty much full HP. What, if you were talking to the team right now, what would you say that they should have done in this situation?
Yeah, I think they should have played better the waves. They forgot a bit how to play the waves. They just, okay, we have Vegas. My Dusa is going to farm somewhere. We're going to go other side of the map. So they were kind of punished for doing that instead of just like protecting the wave Dusa has and like just marching through one lane. That actually worked when they didn't have the Aegis, which is, it's really weird to see like Hokori, they actually played the game way better when the enemy team had the Aegis. Because then they were actually thinking like, we cannot fight, we need to play the map. And when Wolf had the Aegis, they're like, oh, we have the Aegis, we're so strong. Okay, I'm gonna farm the entire map, and then you're just like being outplayed on waves. So yeah, I guess Hokori had the better understanding on how to play the entire map, and I'm glad to see this. It's a team that I coached, and I used to joke when I was coaching them that they actually played better against Aegis than the normal game, and are like, can you guys just play this game as the enemy team always have Aegis? That's the perfect way to play the game. Like, you're always trying to force fights where you have advantages numbers, and you do that by controlling the waves, by being on the right side of the map. They had the vision advantage with the Beastmaster, with the clock, which definitely helped. But on the other hand, I really feel like the Zeus was very underwhelming from King RD. I have never seen on this patch a Zeus with so low impact on the game. Like, they should have had better vision game. I don't know what was wrong, but I simply didn't feel the impact of this hero.
Rich, I
I'd agree.
Go ahead if you anything particular, or
go ahead, Dan. I
was going to roll the way back to the laning stage. I know it was a long time ago, but when we looked at this draft, we predicted that they'd very much Corey run away with it in the laning stage and push through the mid game and kind of just roll through them. That kind of didn't happen. They had a very small advantage after the laning stage, and it felt like the Medusa was just going to run away with it. Do you think that they could have Corey played that laning stage better? Did they perhaps underperform there, and they had to kind of come in this not cheesy strategy, but a strategy that feels more unconventional?
Sure. I mean, I think that to hyper focus on the lanes. I think I was a little bit confused with the skill build for the Beastmaster Vitali. He ended up going 3 points in axes, and I'm not really sure why the Abba on that lane was, very good against that particular build, because he just waits for like 4 or 6 stacks of axes and then dispels them, and you restart from 0. Dusa pops her wand. Maybe Boars would have been better, but like honestly, I think the laning lead was good enough for Hokori, especially the way that they were playing out from lanes. Like, the net worth lead might have not reflected that, but you have to remember that was pretty much all concentrated on HFN, whereas everyone on Hokori, but especially Yuma, of course, was getting that farm. Misho played like a phenomenal early game, like getting all the spells he needed, really setting up and enabling a lot of kills. I don't know. I liked the idea, honestly, from Hokori, going for this kind of, different strategy, we'll call it, for the Yuma with the magic build. But it's a very legit timing against a Dusa. It was just a little bit unfortunate that they do flub it real bad right before the first Roche fight, and then kind of that strategy starts to destabilize. Even more shocked when they just kind of double down into the build anyway, which I feel like you have to once you get the Ags. But I don't know. I think, you have one bad fight with that Luna build, and the strategy goes awry, but they recovered very well from it, and they won the game. So, hopefully to them.
Steenie, one of the things I want to hyper focus on before we go to a break quickly is just the final moment of the base race. Do you think that perhaps Wolf Team could have played that particular fight better? Because it felt like, that was a pivotal moment and maybe they fluffed the bag a little bit there.
Yeah, that wasn't really a fight. That was basically like a dieback from Zeus. That again is the hero that's supposed to have the better positioning and better vision. So the disaster started with that. It felt like Hokori, they knew exactly what they were planning and doing. And Wolf, they were just like pressing buttons, trying to make the game end. So one team was actively thinking and taking smart decisions, while the other team was just seeing heroes and doing moves. It was really an outclass from Hokori on Wolf Team this end of the game. And like a funny fact on that is that basically HFN, he loses a game in 52 minutes with 928 last hits and with 0 deaths. It's really like an SA match, like both carries 0 deaths,
That's
like
crazy.
farming. But in one hand, you had like a entire team playing a team game and like a Luna build, more team focus, while you had like everything relying on HFN, and he wasn't capable of finishing the game, especially because his team didn't play well the map.
Well, as Steenie mentioned, smart decisions there, and I know what a smart decision from you viewers will be. It will be tuning in for Game 2 of this series, which promises to be as much of a barn burster as Game 1. We'll be right back after a quick break. Don't go anywhere.